Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my day one deck tech or day one thoughts of Maxx the Hype Nitro. Kind of give you some of the ideas that I'm messing around with and some of the ones that I'm not messing around with initially, and just give you my general thoughts after like just goldfishing the deck on Talishar and talking it over with some friends and having a good level baseline to maybe give you something to think about. Even if you don't go with this style of deck, at least it gives you something to compare to in the coming weeks. So we'll get right into it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. I'm going to be doing a lot of flesh and blood content here over the next week, so if you're new to the channel, it's a good time to come in. I would be doing about 2 videos a day, I would say, with all the Bright Lights content we have. We'll be doing Evo tier list and, spoiler day wrap-ups that we're going to do later today, stuff like that. So definitely check it out. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank y'all so much as always. This has been a really fun time with the channel, and I'm really enjoying it. So we're going to get into Maxx the Hype Nitro. I've been messing with this deck literally all weekend. It's been just, since the hero was revealed, it's been taking over my fab life, like hours of thinking about this deck. So I've been just messing with it on Talishar in like manual mode and single player, going through play line, seeing how things play out, like obviously like undisrupted, simulating like I would block once on purpose, simulating like 3-card hands and 2-card hands and things like that. So this is the list I initially came up with. Again, I am restating, this is not like, I'm not saying like this is the most efficient way to play Maxx, right? So no one come at me in the comments. This is just a way that I feel is a good start, right? And I'll kind of give you some of my thoughts on what I picked and why I didn't pick some things and go from there. So going into the equipment, again, in my other video, definitely go check it out on initial thoughts of Maxx. There's a couple questions you have to answer with Maxx. One is like, why do you play Maxx? Which the first thing is his resource generation. Yes, you're technically paying 2 resources to create a hyperdriver, so you're paying 2 resources to create 2 resources. But it is a way of ramp because it opens up play lines later on that you normally wouldn't have, right? Being able to play a 0-cost boost when 2 hyperdrivers up and then being able to play a 2-cost card for free or 2 1-cost cards for free is super nice, right? And that's what Maxx allows you to do. He allows you to just have different sequencing and keep information withheld from your opponent because you're not having to play out your high-cost stuff first, right? So when it came to his equipment, we'll talk about the obvious ones first. Tekla Foundry Heart, I still haven't found an Evo or anything that rivals Tekla Foundry Heart. Having the 3 block and being able to activate this in order to help pay for Moonshot turns or even help pay for a Max V turn, depending on the hand, is super useful. It just can't be understated. When it comes to the headpiece, I'm on Crown of Providence. I am not on Hyper X3. I'm still trying to make this card work. In a deck where you want to boost away your hyperdrivers in your deck so you can play cards like Gas Up to their full effect or cards like Hyper Scrapper to their full effect, the headpiece gets in the way of that. I think the headpiece, and then on top of that, the headpiece is also not good even in a Mechanoid plan because now that you have cards like Gas Up, you can boost away your hyperdrivers. It's okay. You just go back and get them and then activate Mech. You can't do that with this headpiece. So I'm still trying to figure out where this headpiece fits. I have it in my board on purpose, just have like something to think about. But right now, I'm still on Crown of Providence. When it comes to these 2, so the legs I chose over Achilles Accelerator because they don't pop when you use them. They have a steam counter on them, and it's a once per turn instant. Pay 1, remove a steam counter from this, gain 1 action point, activate this ability only if you have boosted this turn. So it's just like Achilles Accelerator, except you have to pay 1 resource, but they don't pop. And they don't have Arcane Barrier 1. So what are you losing? You're losing Arcane Barrier 1, and you're losing the ability to pop these without paying for anything, right? And you're technically losing the block. This doesn't have a block 0, so you can't like block a T-bone with this. But when it comes to my equipment, I really don't care. Unless you 4 T-bone me and I still have Crown of Providence up and I finally have to block with this card, it doesn't really hurt me that much. I'm not a ninja that's going to pop a key piece of equipment, right? If Foundry Heart was temper, then you could make that argument that that's a bad thing, but right now I don't have that. So the reason I have these legs is because they don't pop, so I don't have to side anything in when I go into my Mechanoid plan. I can just run these legs and I'm good, and I can use the ability whenever I want. I'm not restricted of not using it like I would be with Achilles Accelerator when I am on Mechanoid plan. Then the other thing I wanted to answer with Maxx is how do you make up for the lost 6 value that you have with Boost Dash, who's on Tekla Pounder? Boost Dash starts with Tekla Pounder that gives her +2 to her first boosted attack 3 times. So how do you make up for that? Well, you make up for that, one, with good maximum velocity turns. It's a lot easier to get this off with Maxx, and then moonshot turns. But this came out yesterday, part of an Evo kit. It's Evo Facebreaker. If you have the base arms equipped, transform it and X hyperdrivers you control into this, then equip this. If you do, the next time you'll be dealt damage this turn, prevent twice that damage. Whenever you boost an attack action card, you may destroy a card under this. If you do, the attack gets +2. So this is also an instant equipment. You can play this at instant speed. So being able to play this will give you this is your Tekla Pounder, in my opinion. Also, this is an amazing because it's instant equipment. So if you have 2 hyperdrivers up at the end of your turn, you arsenal this. You wait for your opponent's first good attack. You play this at instant speed, transforming your 2 hyperdrivers and your base arms into this. And then since you transform 2 hyperdrivers, you will prevent twice that amount, so 4 damage. So really, really nice. It's basically like a little mini defense reaction on top of having a Tekla Pounder. I think it's definitely worth the slot. And when you combine this, your base arms also have a +1 one-time effect, so you get +7 value right off of this. These are not base, so once you use them once, you're not going to be able to transform another one into another one. So I might go down to a 2 of. We'll see. I'm just starting with a 3 of to see how it works. But that's where I'm at with that. When it comes to the deck, I'm not going to go super card by card because I'm still testing things. I will say one thing. I think having 0 cost boost cards is key in this deck, right? The reason being, if you have 2 hyperdrivers on the field and you boost, you're able to then free up 2 resources to play things like 2 1 cost in a row. If you have 3 0 cost in your hand and you have like a maximum velocity and arsenal, if you have 2 hyperdrivers on the field, the first time you boost, you now don't have to activate Tekla Foundry Heart to play maximum velocity. You're just going to have those 2 resources at the end of your turn for it, which is super, super nice. You're also able to do other things with it. There's just a lot of stuff you free up by having a lot of 0 cost in your deck because you want to have those 2 resources to have the flexibility to play into maximum velocity and moonshot. So because of that, I'm on 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24 0 cost in my deck, 0 cost attacks. And then for 1 cost attacks, we have Outpace, which it's a 1 for 4 go again with boost that says this can't be defended by equipment. So when you're able to buff it with like Gas Up or Recharge or even your Evo Facebreaker, it starts to demand more cards from your opponent. We have other good 1 costs like Pulse Wave Harpoon in here, obviously. Red hyperdrivers, which we have because if we get this turn 1, we're able to make 2 hyperdrivers by popping our boots and using Maxx's ability as long as we have 1 boost card. We can also go get them with Gas Up, so it makes it really easy to put them back into the field even if they're boosted away. So it doesn't really hurt us to run 3 of them right now, in the main board at least. Then we have like Recharge, which puts steam counters back on hyperdrivers we control. Crankshaft, if it's boosted away, we'll put steam counters back. And Big Bertha will put steam counters back. So we have 3, 6, 9, 12 cards in the deck that'll put a steam counter back on a hyperdriver we control, which is super nice. And then really, the rest of it's just good value attacks. Our basic playline and what we're trying to do is play 0 cost boost attacks into maximum velocity and moonshot to be able to have these crazy blowout turns with 20 plus damage. I even had a turn where I went from a maximum velocity into a moonshot, which was pretty crazy. And then I've had turns where I had one turn where I got the line I wanted to get one time, which is banishing 3 of your hyperdrivers that you have boosted away. To make this a 3 for 5, gain 6 resources, and then I put that into a moonshot and destroyed the 2 or 3 hyperdrivers that were on the field, which was just a crazy blowout turn, right? You're getting like 15 plus damage. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with Maxx. I did a lot of now when I say a lot, like 7 games of just like straight gold fishing on manual mode on Talishar to see like what the average output per turn was. My average uninterrupted damage per turn was 15, which is on over 7 games, which is pretty high. In the sideboard, we're really just siding into Mechanoid. We're taking and bringing in Mechanoid, High Octane, 2 more hyperdrivers, and being able to do that. I have Rev up here as a 6 power for Dromai. You could use Payload or Throttle. I just wanted to use a new card. I know it's technically slightly worse because it could be a 3 for 6 if you don't have a hyperdriver. Makes complete sense. It does have boost, which is nice, but you would just run Throttle or Payload. I just wanted to run a new card. Cognition Nodes is for Dromai. Galvanic Bender is for the Mechanoid plan, just to have a +1 under your Mechanoid. Visitronic Model is for Kano. And then again, I'm trying to make this card work. But that's my baseline. Nothing too crazy. Again, good 0 cost attacks to help fuel more resources to be able to play our 1 and 2 cost out for pretty much nothing. We don't always have to lead with a blue. You're looking to activate Maxx pretty much every turn. The one thing I didn't go over is I'm using Hanabi Blaster over Banksy. The issue I have with Banksy is I look at Banksy similar to Vincett's weapon, where like if you don't block this, it's going to hurt. But if you have an opponent that's willing to block it, then you lose a lot of value, because if you play if you activate Maxx for a yellow hybrid driver and you crank it, it goes down to one tick, one steam counter, and then you attack with Banksy, and they just block it because maybe they can trade with you a little bit easier and they can play on 3-card hands, then you just that hyper driver is gone next turn. So now you're basically playing on 1 hyper driver. I learned that if you do that, most turns you're actually playing on 1, maybe 2 hyper drivers. But if you don't do that, it's really easy to get 2 and 3 hyper drivers a lot easier, which is what you want to do when you're trying to play for these big moonshot turns, in my opinion. So Hanabi Blaster is really good. This activates all the time with having 24 0 cost boost attacks. It's not that hard to have 3 boosts in a turn in this deck. So overall, I'm really enjoying it. And it's the 3rd time you play a boost card, a card with boost each turn, so it's not that hard to get. But overall, I'm really liking the deck. I like where it's starting. I am going to try to do like an Evo-based build. I'm going to try to do like a go tall build, like with the pumps, things like that. We'll have to see. But initially, I think this is a good start for Maxx. And if you're trying to, just get something to bounce off of, I think this is a good way to do it. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. I'm going to be doing other videos with Dash and Teklevossen as well. And I think this is a good start for Maxx, just to see what feels right, what doesn't feel right. You could easily swap Banksy into this list. It wouldn't change anything. You could swap the Hyper X3 into this list, although it would affect cards like Gas Up. But if you don't care for cards like Gas Up, if you don't have Gas Up in the deck, then you can run this card. I just like having Gas Up in the deck. It really helps like the value. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Really interested. The deck list will be down below. Would really love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time on TC Talk. Hope you have a great day. Also, go look at all the other creators that revealed cards this weekend. A lot of people did a lot of work, did a lot of cool stuff. It'd be really cool for them to get some more subs too. So if you're new to the game, type in Flesh and Blood Bright Light Spoiler in your search bar. You'll have a ton of channels come up. Go follow them, give them some love, and yeah, we'll help grow this game even more. Thank y'all so much. Have a good rest of your week. Stay safe, and I'll see y'all in a few hours on TC Talk. Thank y'all so much.